to lie, won't stop to lie, can't stop to lie, won't stop to lie, can't stop to lie, won't stop to lie, ain't no Chico, just be smooth.
All right, welcome guys to the Tech Don't Sleep podcast. Listen, it's your boy Bill McCleskey with My Tech Partners, and I'm telling you, we got a hot guest here in the hot seat, Mr. Ryan Beck with Pray.com. He's currently the CTO, right?
Correct.
Yeah, man. So I'm excited to discuss with you your journey, what you've been up to, really your story, and how you got to where you are right now. And I know every time, we do this podcast, I like to have some practical takeaways or some really defined nuggets that people can just walk away with and really apply today or this week in their lives or in their business. And I know having a conversation with you, we're going to be able to do that. So welcome, man. Appreciate you taking out the time to do this for us.
Of course. Thank you, Bill, for having me. I appreciate it. I'm excited to get into a great conversation with you today.
Yeah, cool. So Ryan, man, first of all, being the CTO at a technology company like Pray.com, when I first hear, of the domain, the URL Pray.com, I'm like, wow, first of all, that's crazy. That's incredible. But just tell us real briefly what the company does overall. Like, what's the purpose and objective of Pray.com?
Yeah, so thanks for giving me the opportunity to explain that. Pray.com, we are about 6 years old, and we started with this desire to create the digital destination for faith. My business partner, Steve Gattina, the CEO of Pray.com, had a personal tragedy in his life, and he turned to all sorts of things to help him through this tragedy. He wasn't a man of faith, but he had friends of faith who connected him to podcasts or videos online that helped him discover his faith and help him through this tragedy in his life. And out of that experience that he had, he realized that there was no one place to go. He was a sports guy. And he's like, I can go to ESPN and get all the sports content I want, but I can't go to faith.com or pray.com and get all the faith content I need to help me through some of life's most important decisions, most important events. That wasn't available. He had to search throughout the web and all these different websites to find things. And oftentimes he was left with nothing. And only when his friends shared sermons with him or messages did he find what he needed. And so from that event in his life, he said, we need to build the digital destination for faith. I knew Steve from junior high and high school. We connected kind of providentially, just coincidentally ran into each other. We live in the same town here outside of Los Angeles. And so we ran into each other outside a grocery store, and we just started reconnecting. Hey, Steve, what are you up to?
Yeah.
He went All-American. I went America's Most Wanted in high school. So we kind of diverged, went different paths. And he went to be an entrepreneur and a legit path in video production. I did my entrepreneurships, and I was with lower income family, grew up, and I got into some illegal activities as an entrepreneur, but I got a taste of what it means to start your own business and do your own thing. Yeah. And through God's grace, I was able to actually to right size my morals, my foundation, and we reconnected on Pray.com about 6-8 years after seeing each other for a little bit.
Yeah.
And we said, all right, we got to build the digital destination for faith where people can come and grow their faith and cultivate the community. And the way we do that is we do that with faith content, namely Christian audio content that people can come and listen to, and they can find sermons, Bible stories, bedtime Bible stories, kids stories, worship music, and they can consume that all on their phone, on their website, on Apple Podcasts, Spotify. We're everywhere. And so we are a media tech platform in which people can consume faith audio content, and we're now even venturing into video content. And this is a subscription company, but we also are a freemium company. What that means is you can get a lot of the content for free. but you can also subscribe to get some premium content that we make, like originals, like James Earl Jones reads the Bible. So if you want Darth Vader, we got Darth Vader reading the Bible, most iconic voice, right? So we have things like that that are premium that you pay for. And that's the business model, very much like a Spotify business model and things like that. So very, very similar to a Spotify application.
And how long has Pray.com been up and running?
About 6 years. 6 years.
So 6
Q1,
years. Okay.
2017 Q1 is when we launched.
And how many users do you guys currently have?
We're very blessed to be the #1 app for prayer and faith. And so we have millions of people that use our applications monthly all across the world. We're in, most countries out there that you can get a Christian app in, you can get pray.com. And so millions of people across the globe, millions of subscribers. We're very fortunate to be where we're at. So yeah.
No, that's crazy, man. So in 6 years, if you got access or you got millions of users, talk to us about how you were able to market that brand and get the exposure to have that multiple downloads. Because I talked to business folks, entrepreneurs who I talked to one of my buddies the other day. She started an app out here in Tennessee probably 3 or 4 years ago. And, one of the biggest challenges for her is getting users. She's got a freemium model too. And she probably has 30 to 40,000 downloads or users. But, how did you guys go from, hitting the market to getting the word out and getting that many users?
Yeah. So something you said about practical, hopefully I can give some people some practical advice. And it comes down with this, what I think what really drives growth at companies is a strategy that's 2 parts: experimentation and data driven. And so really what transformed our growth trajectory was our mindset around how we are going to experiment. And experiments come in many forms, but the shorter the feedback cycle on those experiments, the faster you can learn and the faster you can make changes and improvements. And that's what drastically changed how we were able to grow. So from our product, we started running tons of experiments on our apps and our websites to help us learn within days or hours about changes that we would make, that we need to alter, this flow or this screen to actually drive better engagement or conversions. So we were looking at the data that just once that became our way of operating. Before it was a tactic we used. Then it became central to just, that's how we operate going forward. We want to make a feature, cool. We roll it out through an experiment and we figure out from there. And so that's whether it's through technology like product in an app or a website, or it's on marketing. So you're changing out your ad creatives. Oh, we want to change this. And you have to be very precise with it. You have to use the scientific methods. You have to be very, very rigorous about your type of testing. So we wouldn't change, all new things. So we wouldn't take an ad and change out every aspect of it. We would change one thing that we thought could drive the most impact with
maybe
that
the color or the wording or something like that.
Yeah, the wording or something like that. So you didn't make a lot of changes. And that way you can start, what you start getting is you start building intuition in which you say, okay, this is what our users like. This is the messaging. And it helped us form the value propositions, the messaging. And so we were able to do that. And that drastically transformed business, allowed us to grow. We use that as just how we operate today. And that's how we're able to continue to move fast, stay agile, and grow the company.
Yeah. So experimenting and then watching the data, and you're saying that the shorter the time you can condense the time frame on getting the feedback there, the better, right? So you can make a decision on what to do.
Yeah.
No, that's golden, man. So tell us, I know you said you met Steve, the CEO. You guys went to school together, but you met in the parking lot, buying groceries or whatever. And then you guys linked up to move forward with pray.com. But tell us how you tell us about your upbringing, because you kind of dropped some seeds there saying he went all American and you were America's Most Wanted. So talk to us about this activity, this illegal activity you got involved in. What happened growing up?
Yeah, so I'm from a place called Norwalk, California, which is just like, South LA. And my mom, I was raised by a single mom, and she wanted to raise me in a better neighborhood. So we moved out of Norwalk, where there was local gangs on our street, and it was not a safe area where we were at. And so we moved out to Thousand Oaks, California, one of the safest places in the United States. Great area, but it's not without its crime, and it's not without its gangs. And my mom being a single mom, low income, on and off food stamps, doing what she could to raise a boy with with minimum wage and working long hours. She did her best, but the situation, even in a place like Thousand Oaks in the low income areas, is all the kids, they're in that same situation. We don't, our dads are gone, our moms are working a lot, and boys, they're not the smartest when they're teenagers and they're growing up by themselves, and we're not making the best decisions. And so we got involved with drugs and the local gangs. And so I ended up selling drugs, and I ended up getting arrested when I was 18 years old. And it was actually through that experience. I was not raised religious or anything like this. I didn't really have like this moral foundation. I was a good kid. If you met me, you would go, "Oh, that's a good kid." My mom raised me with some good principles, but I just didn't really have like this really mature, solid foundation of ethics in which I could live my life. And so it was actually when I got locked up, I had time to reflect, and here I am trying to figure out what kind of man I'm going to be. I feel like I'm making decisions that I'm comfortable with. I'm like, yeah, I want to be a tough guy, right? Growing up in the tough suburbs of Thousand Oaks, man. And so, I had some guys in there that were just like, look, you're a good kid. You got a good head on your shoulders. What are you doing? Do you want to end up like us? Do you want to end up as a big shot in the pen or a big shot in the golf course? And when someone asked me that, I don't like golf. I said, I get your point, though. I get your point. It sounds pretty foolish. Do I want to be a big shot locked up behind bars? That does not sound like a good life. And it gave me pause, and I started reflecting on the type of person I wanted to be. People started sharing scriptures with me. So they'd share the Bible, and they say, "Hey, read this." I'd read it, and I just remember.
This is when you were locked up.
I was locked.
Okay,
yeah, it was when I was locked up.
Yeah.
And I just had these, a lot of older guys looking at me, seeing their younger selves, and seeing how they can actually change the path of my life. And it's astonishing because not everyone in there was like that. A lot of them were like, I met some people that are like, all right, this is how you got busted. This is what we're going to do to teach you how not to get busted next time, blah, blah, blah. But there were some other guys that were like, no, come on, change your life, man. Don't be like this. And I chose that path, and I said, you know what, I'm going to change my life. And I just prayed one night, and I just asked, hey God, if, Jesus, that was a lot of these people were Christian, and they're saying, hey, if, Jesus is the one I'm supposed to follow, give me a heart to believe. And I just woke up with some profound confidence that, I'm going to follow Jesus. I'm going to become a Christian. And I did that. I can't explain it beyond just profound confidence. Just woke up with this kind of psychological certainty. And so I was very fortunate to get out not too long after that. Is really my first offense. Technically my second, but I beat my first offense while I was in. So it became my first offense. So my sentencing got much lighter, and I was able to get out. And I just knew that I needed to change my sceneries, my friends, and it's really hard because that's what and all my friends were the same. Most of all my friends from then, they're in and out of prison today, except for one, and he was the only one that had a mom and dad at home. Only one of us, and he avoided prison the whole time. And I think it's because he had a strong foundation, a strong family there for him. And so anyways, I got out and had the opportunity to go to Bible college because I got involved with the local church there in my neighborhood. And I went and I studied to become a minister. Worked in the ministry for a couple of years to become a minister. I decided I'm not like, I love helping people and things like that, but being a pastor is not for me. So I went and got my computer science degree. And so I got my computer science degree and philosophy degree. I look at pursuing my philosophy degree sometime when I retire. It's not as lucrative. And so anyways, I had a really great opportunity. I had a felony on my record at that time. So I could only work for people that would kind of give me a second chance, which were nonprofits generally. So I got a job as a nonprofit working as a software engineer there. And that really opened my eyes up to tying my skill set with purpose. Fortunately, I don't have a felony on my record anymore. It's removed, so that's great. Opened up a lot more job opportunities for me. But that helping a nonprofit do something truly extraordinary, where they're helping women and children get educated, start businesses and things like that. And I thought, wow, this is a great opportunity for me. And I then ran, after doing that for several years, I ended up running into Steve, my business partner, and that's when we reconnected. And he's like, "Hey, I got this opportunity. I got this domain, pray.com. And I'm gonna start the digital destination for faith. I don't know what that means, but you in?" I said, I'm in. Let's do it.
Yeah, so it sounds divine, man. We talk about fate and just running into somebody like a coincidence, but the two things coincide. It's meant to be, because based on your background and you accepting Christ in your life, and then going to Bible college and all that stuff, it seems like it was a great fit, a perfect fit. Like, how did you feel when you ran into Steve and he presented that to you? Did you feel like this is perfect?
Yeah, I think that obviously God works in wondrous ways, and he opens up doors and he shuts doors. And I thought this was a great opportunity, a great door for me to really apply my biblical education. So I've worked in this industry for over a decade, so I know it in and out. I know the customers, I know the leaders in it, I know the personalities. And so it really gives me a very interesting perspective as I build these technologies, because when we're building technologies, especially something like pray.com, we're consumer brand. And so we're building technology for people to use in their everyday life. And so it makes it a lot easier when I know the ins and outs of the problems and pain points of the people. I can then easily tie the technological solution back to those problems and pain points.
Yeah. So talk to us about your role as CTO and what you do on a daily basis. You kind of mentioned here, the content that you guys create and all that good stuff for your consumers. But talk to us about it, like from the beginning. Like, what did you guys first do? Was it first just audio stuff? Was it first, recorded sermons, or, content that folks could read? And how'd you grow that content?
So we started off with a daily prayer, a little daily prayer. You maybe heard of like Our Daily Bread. I don't know, maybe you seen that. So you think about that, like digitizing that. That was one thing that I thought that was probably the easiest use case. We thought, I don't want to, it takes a team. Like it takes a team. And so we thought that's the easiest use case we can transfer into an app. From a content perspective. And so Steve has that content background. So we started with the daily, took off. People love it, right? It's so easy, simple, quick, easy way to start your day. You open up the app, you get your verse, and then you get your prayer to come along with it. You got 2 to 5 minutes, right? That's about what the average person can give you every day in the morning. 2 to 5 minutes. 2 to 5
minutes with God. That's all I got.
Hey, let's make it quick. I got to get to work. I got to take care of these kids. I got to get to work, And then what we were able to add on to that was these Bible stories. So we broke it up into kids' Bible stories, regular Bible stories, and bedtime Bible stories. And so we didn't just do Bible stories where you read the Bible, but made it more thematic, cinematic, Hollywood-esque. And so we were able to deliver the Bible in a new format, in a new medium that people maybe haven't heard before. And so it was really to quote a line that Max, our VP of content, we're bringing the Bible to life. And so people get to engage with this content in a pretty remarkable way, and they can start their day with it, or they can end their day with it right before bed to help them fall asleep. And so that was a huge opportunity for us to bring in more long form content, so we can help people, give them a 15 to 45-minute story that helps them grow their faith, but also fall asleep.
Yeah. Yeah, good stuff. And so now it sounds like a plethora of content from, I think you mentioned podcasts and video content and all that good stuff. What talk to us about that?
Now we have everything. So you want to find your favorite podcast, Christian podcast, you can come to pray.com.
Yeah.
You want to find some summaries of your favorite books, you can come to pray.com. You want to find your favorite leader, like pastor, they're probably on pray.com. And then if you just want to find, if you want to read the Bible or listen to the Bible, you can do that. We have Pray TV, which allows you to watch worship and sermons. It's a 24/7 stream. So you can just put that on in the background. Same with Pray Radio, 24/7 stream. Just put that on the background as you work or something like that. And so we have music if you want to listen to, I love listening to music while I'm working. So I'll put that on and just let it stream while I work. So we have all of that. We have we're adding more and more features. We have things like what we call like a date, today's devotional, which is like a step-by-step program that you can go through, a prayer, Bible reading, meditation. So we have tons of meditations in the app as well.
Yeah, no, that's crazy, man. Sounds like a lot going on, and a lot of content to really feed on. So what was it about, when you talked about, your journey and all that good stuff, what was it about you selling drugs and getting locked up? What did you learn from that experience that you now apply to your career or to business? Because I hear a lot of, well, not a lot, but I've heard before how drug dealers, and I think you alluded to this too, how drug dealers or folks involved in illegal activity are entrepreneurs. And I used to watch like this show, like back in the day, The Wire and all these other shows that, kind of, show that lifestyle. And I used to watch it to get some insight about business. But what is it that you got out of your personal journey that you now apply to your life?
Well, I would say that a lot of the tactics I would not recommend for business. I think that a lot of tactics will, no matter whatever you're selling, you're going to get in trouble. So I will say that the kind of the attitude, the hustler's mentality, right? That's kind of something that goes along with it. Grinding, putting in the hours, putting in a lot of work. It's not a glorious business, trust me. Most people aren't making lots of money on it. And you're working lots of hours, long nights and things like that. But it's this hustle that you have. You want to create something that's your own. You want to have your own autonomy over your own work. You don't want somebody telling you what to do. That's why a lot of entrepreneurs are kind of hard to hire, because they have ideas and they want to do things, and they want that control over their destiny. And so I think it's being able to have a vision, the hustling, but aligning it correctly.
So you were saying that, like, basically the vision, the hustle, right? And having the drive to create something, create a life and autonomy for yourself that, you did have. No, I think that's really key. I think like we can learn, like when I look at even just my life personally or other people, man, who may have had setbacks, and we look at some folks as, being in an unfortunate circumstance, but a lot of times, the things that we learned from that setback can help propel us forward, in a better situation. So that's why I asked that question. I'm curious to know too, man, with pray.com, who's y'all's competition, right? I'm curious on your feedback, from that, because there's other, apps out there that kind of do something similar. So like how do you distinguish? Well, I think I know how you distinguish yourself, but you know, who's your competition, and how do you kind of stand out from everybody else in the playing field?
Yeah, so I think at a high level, not to sidestep that question, I'll get to it. But at a high level, one of the main competition that we're facing is is really something very particular to the human experience. So like depression, anxiety, and that's what faith combats, right? So
Okay.
when people come and they seek out their faith, they want to grow their faith. They're trying to overcome these kind of existential things that they're facing in their life, these big decisions that we're making. And so what we're finding, especially now coming out of the pandemic, mental health is is becoming a much more acute problem in our society, and
Mhm.
it's impacting adults, but it's also impacting the younger people as well. We've seen a huge spike in um, mental health issues post pandemic. And so
Mhm.
what we if you look at some of the recent studies, some of these studies look at spirituality and how it can help people overcome some of these mental health
Mhm.
issues like depression and anxiety and even
Mhm.
addiction. And faith historically has played a role in helping overcome these issues in society,
Yeah.
helping people with addiction. You got the 12-step program. That's one of
Yep.
the most
Sure.
foundational programs in helping people beat addiction. And so really we look at it from that type of perspective. That's what we're competing against. There
Sure.
is a pandemic that
Yep.
is hitting us post COVID pandemic, and
Mhm.
it's a mental health pandemic. And prayer and faith and pray.com can help combat that, can help people through some of these most trying times, some of these
Mhm.
most stigmatized issues that they're facing in society, with such as depression and anxiety. So we look at that. And then when you look at it like on what other apps out there are competing with us, you know, when we launched, there's really just the Bible app.
Mhm.
So that was huge, right? That's one of the first apps in the App
Sure.
Store, believe it or
Yeah.
not, downloaded by about 400 million people globally.
Yeah.
Huge success.
Yeah.
Um, and that's a nonprofit company, and they've done a great work. And That's the biggest Bible app in the space, and one of the biggest successes in just tech.
Sure.
And so um, there's other now. When we came in, it was pretty much them. Now, since we come in, we've had a lot of copycats come up and pop up,
Mhm.
try to tackle it, whether it's in these spaces and raise some money, some significant money. Um, One thing that we have over them is we've been in the space for much longer. We know the industry, and we continue to lead the way. We set the standards of how people engage with their prayer life and how they make prayer a priority in their life through digital mediums. And so we continue to lead the way, and we set the example for everybody. And there's always going to be people that come up and want
Yeah.
to find success. And you know what? I look at it. This is a this is a field in which competition, it's doing it good. It's a public service. It's helping us. That's why I set the stage with like, hey, we're fighting something a little bit bigger than a competitor.
Sure.
We're really trying to help people solve some really big issues in their life, and that's what we do at Pray. We really help people find peace, inspiration, motivation throughout the day.
Yeah. No, I love that answer, man, because I think number one is part of the story, right, of pray.com and the mission, and it's something to kind of rally around and get passionate about, because you're right, mental health has become the post-pandemic of the pandemic, so it's something we really got to address. I was where I attend church here in Nashville. One of our ministers he did a series on mental health, And it was really amazing. But one of the things that I took from that was there needs to be, we're at church for an hour or two once a week, right? Out of 7 days. And if we really are trying to combat something like mental health, how do we expect 1 hour a week to fight that? We need to have more consistency, whether that's a daily activity or hourly practice, whether it's a 2 to 5 minute prayer or a devotion or reading the scripture, whatever. So I love the fact that the app enables somebody to be more consistent, and combat something like that. So what's up next for Pray.com? Is there anything new on the horizon? Any new projects that you guys are working on? And then also, like, what's the end goal? Do you guys go off into the horizon, make this a generational company, or do you eventually, want to exit to a larger tech company like Amazon or something?
Yeah, so some great questions there. Well, so we just launched our Bible in a Year podcast, and we reached number one in our category, in the faith category.
Nice.
So number one podcast on Apple Podcasts and Spotify. So we were super excited for that. And we have some other podcasts coming out. I can't really speak to the names of those, but coming in January, we have another podcast coming out that I think a lot of people are going to like. And we're going to, we look forward to those launches with the podcast. We have a celebrity content release coming up here in about a month. So stay tuned for that. It's going to be in the mental health space. And so helping people overcome depression and anxiety. And so we're super excited about that partnership. And yeah, we just continue building faith technology in the media space and the faith space to help people grow their faith and cultivate the community. And kind of wraps up into the, what's the end goal? The end goal for us is our mission, right? We want to really empower people. We want to help people leave a legacy of helping others. And so that's what we're setting out to do. The way we do that is through helping people grow their faith and cultivate community. And so that for us is the end state. We want to help people grow their faith and cultivate community through a digital destination for faith, which is pray.com. So we're building that. How that ends? It ends with pray.com being the digital destination for faith.
Yeah, no doubt. Good job, man. I'm impressed with what you guys are doing, and even more impressed with the mission, of the company, because I think it's very much needed. And if you had an ask for the listeners and folks watching this video, like what would be the ask? I'm assuming it would be download the Pray.com app if they haven't already. But what outside of that, what would you ask of folks?
Yeah, I think that the ask would be for people to make introductions with pray.com and their church. We really want to work with churches to help them with their digital ministry. We want to help them come online. This is an unprecedented time for churches. Mm-hmm. Some churches they're getting through these last 2 years okay. Not a lot of churches are. Mm-hmm. Churches are on our decline. Faith is on a decline. We want to help bring faith to our society, and we think it's very pivotal. It's a pillar of society, and we need to keep it that way. And that we're here to help churches specifically. We're here to help Christians, and so the ask is, hey, if you have a church that is struggling to get their footing post-pandemic, and they need help to digitize their ministry, connect us. We'll help them. That's what that's something that we're doing here at pray.com now is really helping these churches and these leaders get their footing post-pandemic and digitize their church.
So when you say like digitize their church, specifically, what do you mean? Do you mean like put sermons online and kind of add some structure to that on the app, or what does that look like?
Yeah, it looks like very similar to that. So we can bring them onto the app, give them their own kind of space within the app, help
Okay.
promote them.
Okay.
And so we've been extremely successful of bringing many ministries online through pray.com. We have one of the largest Christian audiences and Christian curious audiences out there.
Nice.
That's the nice thing about pray.com. It's a lot easier to download pray.com and see what faith is about, what Christianity is about,
Yep.
what James Earl Jones reads the Bible is about,
Yep.
then go to the church, right? That's scary. That's a big commitment. And so we have a lot of Christians, but also Christian curious people. And so we are helping churches get a spot on pray.com and being able to promote their media, their ministry on pray.com and getting in front of people.
No, that's amazing, man. That's good. I didn't realize you guys were connecting with churches and helping them do that. So, if your church is struggling, or even if you're not, if you want to go to the next level, and definitely connect with pray.com and make that introduction. So, how can they connect with you guys? Should they email you, or how should they go about that?
Yeah, so you could email Ryan at pray.com, and that would be the easiest way. And then I can get to know you, and then connect you to the sales team and stuff like that. But I love to meet. I love talking with the customers.
Yeah.
That's one of the key things at Pray that we started from the beginning. We continue to do today. Get outside the building, talk to the customers. You can't build this alone. You can't build this in isolation from the customers. You have to be talking to them.
Yeah. Do you know where most of your users are in at least in the US, right? Are they, since you guys started on the West Coast, do you have a bigger presence there, or how is it over on the East Coast or Midwest wise?
Yeah, so that's a good question, because you think of like Uber or something that started in San Francisco. They had a huge presence in San Francisco. So since we're a digital product and not a physical good or a physical service like an Uber, we're all over. There's no like concentration in the West Coast. It's all over, from California to Maine to Florida. It's all over.
And are you all
we're all over the world
all
too,
over the world?
so
Yeah.
Yeah.
Are you all doing things in different languages as well?
Yeah, so you can listen to our content in Spanish. So you download the app, and we have tons of Spanish content. We have some other content. We look forward to doing some other things in the future and some other languages as well.
Yeah, sky's the limit, man. So
Yeah.
great work. So you guys, hey, if you're listening or watching, be sure to connect with pray.com, download the app, connect your church, collect the meet. Hey, I was talking to at my tech, we work with a lot of churches, man, in terms of their Wi-Fi management, the pipeline, the internet, and all that good stuff. And I was talking to a media guy yesterday down in Alabama, and he was telling me all the problems they're having. So hopefully I can connect you with some folks as well, and help them go next level in terms of their digital footprint online. But hey, man, appreciate your time. Love your story. Appreciate the work that you guys are doing. And thanks again, man. We also let me give a shout out to our sponsors as well. These guys sponsor our events and the podcast and enable us to keep this thing going. So Comcast Business, always a big sponsor. Aircall, and then Spectrum VoIP. We appreciate you guys. Make sure if you're listening or watching that you are subscribing to the podcast on any platform that where you listen to a podcast. So Spotify or Apple Podcast or whatever, or YouTube. Subscribe to the channel and make sure that you are notified every time we have an episode come out. Hey, Ryan, man, appreciate you again. Hey, hope you get better. Hope you're recovering well.
Thank you. Appreciate it. Yeah, I am. You know what? I was surprised that it caught me. On day 9, so I've been quarantining.
Oh, for real?
Staying safe. Yeah. So I'm on day 9 right now, so I feel good.
Yeah.
But that cough got me. So it looks like I can't do the extended conversations just yet.
It's all good, man. Hey, well, we are praying that you get better. And again, man, appreciate your time and much success to you guys.
All right. Take care, Bill. Thank you.
You got it, man.
Won't stop to lie, can't stop to lie, won't stop to lie, can't stop to lie, won't stop to lie, ain't no